All right, today we've got a financial puzzle that honestly seems to break all the rules of math. It's a story about two of the greatest investors of all time and how the guy with a much lower annual return ended up way, way wealthier. So, how does that work? Let's dig in. Okay, so on the surface, this looks like a total no-brainer. In one corner, you've got Jim Simons, this legendary mathematician whose fund, get this, averaged an unbelievable 66% annual return for decades. And in the other corner, you have the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, with, well, a mere 20% average return. I mean, based on those numbers alone, the answer just seems obvious, right? Simons's return is more than 3 times bigger than Buffett's. So, quick gut check. Who do you think has more money? And here's the twist. It's Warren Buffett. And you know what? It's not even close. We're talking a difference of over $95 billion. Billion with a B. That's the paradox we're here to solve. This is the real question, isn't it? How on earth does a 20% return beat a 66% return so decisively? Well, the answer isn't just one simple thing. It's actually a combination of a few powerful forces that most of us tend to overlook. All right, let's put on our detective hats and start the investigation. To figure this out, we have to look past that one big, shiny number, that annual return. Because there are 3 crucial clues that tell the real story here. So our first clue, it has absolutely nothing to do with fancy algorithms or brilliant stock picks. Nope, it has everything to do with something way more fundamental. It's about time. So just look at this timeline. Warren Buffett got his major investing start way back in 1965. Jim Simons didn't launch his famous medallion fund until 1988. What does that mean? It means Buffett's financial snowball had twice as long, a full 60-plus years versus about 30, to just roll down that hill, gathering size and momentum the whole time. But it's not just about how long the snowball rolls. What might be even more important is what you do to fuel it along the way. And this brings us to the absolute magic of reinvesting. Warren Buffett's strategy is legendary for this one incredibly simple rule. He reinvests pretty much 100% of the profits. His company, Berkshire Hathaway, famously doesn't pay a dividend. Every single dollar that's earned goes right back into the machine to start compounding for the next year. Now, Jim Simons' fund, it was a completely different beast. It was designed to generate these incredible returns and then, distribute them. 100% of the profits were paid out to its investors every single year. Now, that's amazing for the investors, right? But it means the fund's own capital base, it reset every single year. The snowball itself never actually got any bigger. And that leads us right to our final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. And this one is all about scale. Because by design, the games they were playing were just completely different sizes. You see, Jim Simons's super smart, quantitative strategy, it worked best on a smaller scale, where it could just dart in and out of the market and exploit these tiny inefficiencies. So he intentionally capped his fund at around $10 billion. Buffett, on the other hand, had no limit like that. His whole strategy of buying and holding great companies allowed Berkshire Hathaway to grow into a trillion-dollar behemoth. So, okay, let's put it all together. You've got time, you've got reinvestment, and you've got scale. When you see all 3 factors side by side, you realize this wasn't really about one strategy being better than the other. It was about 2 completely different kinds of races. And right here, this is where the paradox just clicks into place. It becomes so clear. Sure, Simons had that mind-blowing return, but Buffett had double the time, 100% reinvestment rate, and a much, much larger asset base to compound. And the results? A nearly $100 billion difference in personal wealth. So the mystery is solved. It turns out a good return that is consistently compounded without interruption over a very, very long time can create way more wealth than an absolutely incredible return that gets stopped and restarted every single year. This isn't just a math problem. What this really reveals are 2 fundamentally different philosophies for building wealth. It's really the philosophy of earning versus the philosophy of owning. And here is that philosophical divide. Simons mastered what you could call spread earning, using these complex, high-frequency trades to make money for his investors. Buffett, on the other hand, is the undisputed king of asset rolling, buying great companies and letting his own personal stake in them compound for himself. Buffett's longtime partner, the brilliant Charlie Munger, he really summed up their entire philosophy with this one powerful idea. The real magic, the
The secret sauce happens when you just let the process work without getting in its way. And that's the key difference. Buffett's compounding was never interrupted. Simon's, by its very design, was.
So, okay, this is a really fascinating story about billionaires, but what's the lesson for the rest of us, right? What can we actually take away from this and apply to our own financial goals? Well, it really boils down to 4 simple principles, the things we can actually control. First, start as early as you can. Time is your single greatest asset. Second, reinvest your gains. You gotta let that snowball grow on its own. Third, keep adding capital whenever you can. Make the base of your snowball bigger. And maybe most importantly, be patient. This story proves that discipline, not just genius, is the ultimate key to winning.
Ultimately, this whole story forces us to ask a really crucial question about our own approach. Are you building a strategy to win for just 1 year? Or are you building one to win for a lifetime? Chasing the highest possible return can feel exciting, but as the tale of these 2 giants shows, the real path to lasting wealth, well, it's paved with patience, not just performance. It's all about playing the long game.